darn, the river out of here.
Yeah, so anyway, we went twice there and then he got bored. So now we always do the paddle surfing in the ocean, but it's really fun. Alright, so we're going to do, we said we're going to do a little bit of weight bearing stuff, right? We're going to start out with, I want you to do a little more with the chest and opening the back, using core, get that warmed up, and then we'll go to the mat. Okay, so let's start out, you guys? Yeah. Let's start out on elbows and knees just to warm up. Okay, come on down. We'll start the way we've done it in the past, with knees wide, toes pointed a little bit in. Keep them a little wider though, towards the edge of the mat, not all the way out, and a little external rotation in the legs. So if your feet are turned in a touch, that means your leg's going to start turning out a little bit, which gives you space in the front of the hips. Elbows a little bit wide to get your chest to be able to release and drop down deeper into your shoulder girdle. And then elbows pretty far in front of the knees. So you've got a decent amount of space here, maybe like 2 feet. Shift your body weight forward. Draw your shoulders back away from the ears. Drop your head down toward the mat. Spine and thoracic spine, no, cervical spine, neck getting really long. Drop your chest down into your shoulder girdle. Just sink in there, hanging to the floor. Breathe soft here. Just let your chest sink a little deeper and deeper. If your head comes towards the mat, that's fine. You can let it touch. If it kills your stretch entirely, then you need to narrow your elbows so your head doesn't touch the floor so easily. Your head can still graze the floor. If it rests fully, it'll take away the length that gravity is giving you in your cervical spine. Okay, we're going to shift weight forward so you're a little more over elbows, and then think of pushing down in your elbows, but also pulling the mat apart. Not for the purpose of pushing and squeezing, but for the purpose of bringing ribs up in the shoulder girdle. And then drop the chest back down, let it sink deeper into the shoulder blades. Keep the head and neck dropped, don't lift it up. Do it again, spread shoulder blades apart. Feel like your hands and elbows are pulling the mat apart. Whole forearm pressing evenly. And then drop it back down. Let's add some breath to that movement. Start bringing your ribs up. When they get to about neutral, start your inhale, and then continue to inhale as your ribs dome higher up into the upper back. And then exhale as you drop back down slowly. Don't close your ribs on your exhale, you're letting them hang out. You're letting your back muscles come together more. Inhale as you bring the ribs up. Keep inhaling as they get higher above the shoulders. And then exhale, dropping down, sink deeper into the shoulder girdle. Let your head and neck hang, belly hangs, hips hang. Try to think of your hips being back just a touch with pelvic bowl down. Shoulders a little behind elbows. Do it again. Pressing down through elbows. Inhale. Exhale, dropping back down, fully resting into the shoulder girdle, into the front of the hips. 2 more. Inhale, bringing it up. Exhale, dropping back down. Last one. Inhale. Exhale, drop back down. Good. Stay dropped in the shoulder girdle. Let pelvic bowl hang. Back is not contracted. And start sitting back like that. Feet wide enough so your hips can sit between them. Sit back as far as you can between the feet. Drop your forehead into the mat. Soft pressure in elbows. Lift your chin in a little bit. Inhale, ribs come up just a touch off the mat. Exhale, try to close your ribs. Keep exhaling till you feel your core muscles pulling in on the inside of the ribs. And then let that go. Inhale again, picking ribs up, tucking chin up, pushing down, soften elbows. Exhale, low belly drawing back. Ribs dropping down. Good, last one like that. Inhale. And exhale. Bring your elbows back right under your shoulder. You want your elbows to be just barely in front of your knees. Yep. Okay, and then close them a little bit more. So I want elbows to be inside the shoulders now. And then I want you to be able to lean your shoulders past your elbows. Yep, good. Getting the spine to be longer. Keeping that, push down through your elbows a little, suck your low belly, middle abs up, try to round the pelvic bowl back. Tailbone under, hips coming toward the mat. Put some pressure in your elbows to spread the shoulder blades off the back. come forward again. Lift your low belly, but let your ribs start to open. Get long into your core. And then lean back forward with shoulders. Good. So look up here for a minute. Keeping shoulders forward, stuck middle abs up. And then think of low belly drawing back. Elbows keep a little bit of pressure so you can drop hips down into the mat, rounding back by keeping pressure in elbows and sucking middle abs, low belly back. Hips should come closer to the floor. Yeah, you feel that? So come forward. Let's stay here for one breath. Inhale. Keep pressure in elbows when you inhale. Exhale, just lift low belly, then start lengthening core. Keep low belly, but let ribs unround, upper back lengthens. Leaning forward, shoulders past elbows. That action helps you get long in your side. So it's not shoulders to ears, neck crunches. It's chest, pecs, drawing the collarbone narrow. The muscle, the lats being attached from low back into here helps open the back. Keeping that, you should now have space to start drawing middle abs up, tailbone under, push through elbows to sit hips down into the mat more. Soft pressure in elbows. And then let your head drop and hang. Keep a little bit of pressure in elbows, but don't pull your core in a lot. Let that go. Inhale. Exhale, tiniest lift in low belly. A little more pressure in elbows. Keep trying to spread shoulder blades off the back more. Okay, low belly stays lifted, lengthening forward through the hips. Keep your shoulders forward. Feel that length in the low back? Good. Last one, lift middle abs, low belly. Start pressing softly in elbows to bring hips to the mat, and then low belly draws back a little bit further, and then lengthen to come back forward. Okay, you should start feeling the core warm up a little. Bring elbows forward, pull back with elbows to come up. Okay, now feet about as wide as knees on your mat. Just a little inside of the knees. So when you look back between the legs, you should see the shins and the heels a little bit. Toes are a little turned out, heels a little bit in. Good. Now bring your elbows really narrow. So they're only about 2 inches apart. Hands flat in prayer. Keep your pinky in prayer, but then release the rest of your fingers except for thumb. So thumbs are long, pinky's long. Because we're going to put a little pressure into the pinky, and if they're crossed, the bottom one gets really squished. So keep it long. Okay. I want you to come forward so that you're really over elbows now. Shoulders are actually even a little past elbows. Yep. Then push down through the whole forearm, including the pinky, to pick your ribs up and dome your upper back more. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. There it is. Drop the head. Inhale. As you exhale, start drawing front ribs a little, but mostly start lifting low belly to drop tailbone under. More. Come on, low belly, drop tailbone under. And then start sitting back like that. Low back should be fully rounded. Tailbone under, you're not there yet. And start dropping back. Stay rounded. Elbows stay stuck to the mat. Sit all the way back as far as you can between the feet. You should feel like your hips are as far away from that pinky side of your hand as you can. Pinky still trying to push into the mat a little. Good. Feel the length in the spine? Okay. To come up, I want you to push into the tops of the feet and knees a little. Suck low belly up. So we're going to round low back first. Higher, higher. Tailbone under. That's it. Drop head through the arms and start coming forward like that. Get on top of the chest. Ribs up high. Pecs engaged. Now look up here. You're here. I need your low belly to draw too. Tailbone under. Release your back. Pressure in elbows. Release your back. Tailbone under. More. Come on. Let your hips go. Okay. Come further forward. Let your pelvis drop back. Good. Now lift your low belly to bring tailbone under. Keep pressuring your elbows. Lift your back more by pushing into elbows. More. Now drop tailbone under. That's it. Let it go. Let your chest drop back down. Push your elbows to pick up the rib cage. Chest engaging. Now keep your back released. Just keep the pressure in elbows. Let your ribs go a little. Okay. Now lift low belly. Turn tail under. Hips have to drop back away from ribs a little bit. You're trying to get the top half and bottom half to come apart. Okay. Last one. Suck the low belly back. Drop the head through the arms. Look at your own low belly. Sit back like this. Tailbone stays under. There we go. Tailbone stays under. Low belly is pulling back. You should feel like somebody's grabbing you right at the pelvic bowl to pull you back. Your pinkies push the mat forward a little bit so your ribs come back out of the shoulder girdle. You're learning to pull the hips out of, or the ribs out of the shoulder girdle by sucking low belly back. Sit all the way back like that, getting really long in the sides. You should be able to sit a little deeper into your hip stretch now. Nice. Good. Much better. Breathe. Forehead into the mat. One more breath here. Bring your forehead a little further back on your mat. Bring your elbows about 1 inch back on the mat. push forward from elbows through pinkies a little to bring ribs further back, rounding, tailbone under, inhale. Exhale, pull back on the mat with elbows, lift the head, start coming forward, staying low in the shoulder girdle now. All the way forward. Once you're forward, press down through elbows to pick the ribs up high, spreading the back muscles. Then suck middle abs up, tailbone drops under. Good, start pulling back like that and hold. Bring your feet in first, tuck your toes, and then hop your knees in until they're touched. Okay. Keeping your ribs up and back, sitting bones back, sit all the way back. Put the forehead into the mat, bring your head as far back on the mat as you can, and start rolling forward. Okay. You may need to open elbows a little bit. Lift shoulders away from ears, roll a little further forward, and then drop your pubic bone, tailbone back, but keep the forward pressure from knees and feet with a flat spine. Breathe. You should feel a neck stretch here, but not a tuck. If your tail is tucked and glutes are squeezed, you're pushing forward too hard. You need to let that go and let your weight feel like it's coming down into the head instead of forward so much. Okay? If you've got the ability to push into the feet here, you can go ahead and bring the hips up, tailbone up and back, knees coming off the mat. And then roll a little bit deeper into your neck stretch. Your hands and elbows are controlling the weight. If your head can't touch the ground, it's because elbows are too narrow. You can widen them. If you feel too much pressure in the head, narrow your elbows on the mat. Breathe. Do not tuck. Sitting bones reach back. Pinky side of your hand pushing the mat forward. Slowly come back down on the knees. And then once you're down, let the hips release. Keep chin in. And then roll back out of the stretch. Good. Feel the neck stretch there? Mm-hmm. Feel what I mean by not tucking? Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, let's bring the head up. Come on back forward again. Elbows narrow. Pick your ribs up. Bring them back. Sitting bones are reaching back now. So your low belly is still pulling and spreading across, and it's still helping to pull back. You're just not rounded anymore. So let's find that first. Let's pick up the ribs in the shoulder girdle. Feel your chest. Suck your low belly up. Tailbone dropping under. And then keeping the low belly without letting ribs drop, just reach the pubic bone back, sitting bones back. So now you're long in your waist, long in your core, and the low belly is engaged. Push into your feet to pick your hips up, knees off the ground. Push into your whole forearm, including the pinky, to drop your ribs further back, like you're sliding the mat forward, bringing ribs back, head comes through the arms. Breathe here. Let's go ahead and bend the right knee, drop your left heel into the mat. Keep your chest going back, elbows push the mat forward, ribs coming back to drop your heel down more. Switch. Right heel toward the mat. Elbows pushing forward to drop ribs further back. Right sitting bones high, hips are reaching back. Switch. Try to find that upper back bend a little bit. Ribs coming out of the shoulder girdle so you can find a little bit of bend in the upper spine, thoracic spine. Switch. One more time. Good. Bring both heels toward the mat. Bend the knees, sitting bones further back. Elbows and pinky side of your hand pushing further forward. Bring your head through the arms. Good. And re-straighten the legs. Bring your right leg up and back. Open up the hip. Bend the left knee. Keep pressing back, or pressing forward, I guess, on the mat with the elbows and the pinky to bring your ribs back, which drops pelvic roll down to bring leg up. Leg higher, top leg higher, good. Shift your body forward so shoulders are over your elbows. Drop chest into shoulder girdle, see if you can pick it back up. Drop chest into shoulder girdle, pick it back up. One more, spread the top toes, pick it up, pick your ribs up too. Drop the foot back down, very good. One more side, almost done here. Bring left leg up and back, open up the hip, bend the knee a little bit so you can drop pelvic bowl and drop ribs. Push through elbows to bring ribs back. The more ribs come back, the more pelvic bowl drops and the leg just tips up. Okay, breathe. Come forward, shoulders right above elbows. Push down through shoulder girdle to pick up ribs. Drop it back down. One more, push down through shoulder girdle, pick up ribs. Drop head through arms. Heel drops back further. And then bring your leg back down. And inner feet touch, knees touch. Bend the knees, bring it down to the mat. Sit all the way back. Really long. Keep elbows stuck to the mat. Keep trying to put the head a little further back on the mat. You should feel like the sides are getting longer. And bring it back up. Good, keep the toes tucked. Let's take the right hand to the middle of the mat. Elbow is now off the mat. Left arm reaching underneath. You're going to think about trying to make your shoulders be on one line. So you're going to try to bring your right shoulder as far under you as you can. Put it on the mat from getting caught there. Slide the left hand forward and the right side of the face is going to touch the mat as far out in front of that shoulder as you can get it. Then you're going to softly push in the back of the right hand and think of a little baby twist rolling toward the right shoulder. Keeping the right shoulder stuck so the head slides forward a little on the mat, stretching the neck softly. Don't overdo this. Notice if your hips trying to come to your ear, reach the hips back. Okay? Keep looking under your left armpit. You can even walk your hand over to the left a little bit. Keep the top hand back enough that you can push a little bit instead of reaching so far forward. So this hand keeps some pressure. Gives you a boundary there as you twist. Breathe. Keep middle abs lifted a little bit, but no tailbone under, not tail tucked. Hips are reaching back. Find your breath. Chin is in a little, neck is long. Start trying to notice the location of the shoulder blades on your rib cage. One more breath. Push the bottom shoulder into the ground to come back a little, and then let that go. Bring your left arm back, elbow to the mat, then bring the right arm out from under. Let's go the other way. Right arm forward in the middle of the mat. Arm is off the ground. Arm is straight. And it's literally, it's in the middle, maybe a little to the right. Your left hand comes across, palm facing up, and try to bring the shoulder across the mat so it's even with the hand. Then turn your head to look under your right armpit, keeping the shoulder stuck to the mat. Come forward and put your head down as far forward away from the shoulder as you can. So you're using the mat and gravity, because your hips are pushing you forward, to stretch that side. The shoulder gets stuck, the head goes forward. Your hand is a boundary, so don't let the hand reach real far. Just keep a boundary there so you're able to release into that. And then, I got too long here showing you guys that. Then look under the armpit, rotate the body a little bit by rolling that top shoulder blade back. It should feel like the hand is steering the mat right a little bit to help you bring your shoulder blade back and twist to the left. So you're bringing your right shoulder blade back into the middle of the spine. Left shoulder blade is reaching across to the right. So your left shoulder blade is coming around the left side of the body as the right shoulder blade rolls to the spine, which makes sense, right? It was migrating around the back of the body. Chin is in, so neck is long. Don't let your left hip come forward. Keep it reaching back. Find your breath. Use the right hand quite a bit. It's keeping you from falling forward. It's helping twist you. Middle abs strong. One more. Bring your hand back, elbow to the mat. Push into the elbow. Come out of it. Good. Okay, bring the hands to the mat. Let's turn your hands out quite a bit so that your thumbs are parallel. Then from there, keep the pinky metacarpal stuck and then really spread fingers out. Okay, so now your thumbs will be a little less than parallel. And then inner spiral arms between biceps face in toward each other. And then just stretch the thumb side of the hand a little bit here. Shorten up your stance, so bring your hands back pretty close to the knees. Inner spiral arms, and then bend your elbows out to the sides. Okay, then lean forward, so your shoulders almost past the thumbs, or do past the thumbs. And then try to pick your middle abs up, drop the head, shoulders slide forward, up the side. So your shoulder blade slides up, opening the side ribs more. Good, you should feel your chest engaged, keep head drop, suck low belly up, tailbone under. You should get a lot of space in your back here. Lift your low belly by pushing into hands, making space in the back. Your back feels like the shoulder blades are spreading wide off the back. Inhale. Exhale, low belly lift. So it's not a tuck, it's not a glute squeeze, abs coming out. It's low belly sucking up. Okay, now keep the pressure in the hands, keep the inner spiral in the arms, and then let your hips sweep back, let your chest goes forward. So you're unfolding the spine. And then bend your elbows wide. Come down as deep as you can with the chest before the hands lift. You should feel a little stretch in that thumb side of your hand. Okay, go ahead and drop your head, re-straighten the arms, keeping the inner spiral. Then push through the thumb side of the hand to bring your ribs up higher. Sliding the shoulder blades off the back more. Low belly lifts, tailbone under. Good. Push into the feet, bring your hips up and back. Drop the head through the arms. This is very short, sort of halfway between a down dog and a forward bend. So drop the head through the arms. Keep the pressure in your hands, keep your ribs back. See if you can bring your right leg up and back, open up your hip. Drop your left heel to the mat, left knee can stay bent. Keep pushing your weight back. Good, bring it back down. Switch, left leg comes up and back, open up the hip. Keep that pressure, bringing the ribs back, heel to the mat. There you go, nice. Spread your left toes, activate that foot, feel all the way from low belly up. Re-square your hips, bring it back down. Feet line up, come high onto your toes. That's going to shift weight forward. Keep your ribs up high. All right, keeping the feet touching. Drop your head through your arms, suck your ribs up. Good, and then slowly start coming back. Heels drop down, hips reach back. Try to bring your hips behind the heels. Bend your knees a little. Nice. Good, and then come all the way back down to the mat. Very nice. How we doing?
Good.
Okay. Go and walk hands forward now, and you don't have to turn them out quite as far. So now let's do index fingers parallel to each other. Little, yeah, right there. Little turn out. Okay, and then we'll step the right foot forward outside the hands. Tuck your back toes to bring the back leg up. And let your hips drop a little deeper into the stretch. Little shorter stance maybe. Bring your back foot forward a touch by putting knee down and retucking closer. Most people usually do the length of this stance. Good, you feel some weight in that right foot now.
Yeah.
Okay, right foot is turned out. Move your body weight over to the right so your hip is over that heel. Don't let your left hip drop as much, lift that. And then try to bend the right knee further right over the foot. Good. Bring your left hand close. Bring your right arm forward and a little across left. Not too far forward, just to where it's in front. Their hands are in one line. And then try to drop your hips further to the right. Bending your elbow. Try to take the whole body a little right. You can put the back knee down if you want to. Then you're going to come down to the front elbow. And then see if you can bring your hand in and your elbow further past your hand. You can either have the back knee off the mat, or you can put your back knee down. But either way, try to get elbow to reach past hand and hips to drop right. See how your foot is kind of pushing the mat forward to help drop pelvic bowl away from ribs. Get that elbow further forward. Much further forward. There we go. Now drop the hip back and right. That's still the right side open more. Use your foot to steer your right hip back, the right foot. And if the foot's really sickling, reactivate the foot to get the inner foot to come back down to the mat. Good. Bring it back up. Very nice. Hands to the mat. Keeping the back toes tucked. Bring your hips back. Let the front leg come up. Try to bend elbows and come to the mat inside that front leg. Dropping the head down. Your knee can be as bent as you want, but try to pull hips back. Good. Breathe. Okay, reach and spread your front toes. Okay, let's bring it back forward. Dropping the hips forward all the way as low as you can. Left hip dropping as low as you want now. Make your knee comfortable so you can roll that knee under you a little. Come more to the quad than knee. Lean forward. Should be much more in quad than knee. Bending the back leg should be easy that way. Reach back with your right hand for your left foot. Perfect. Come to the tops of the toes with the hand and pull the foot in. If you pull it toward the right butt cheek, it's a little less of a stretch. If you pull it across and keep it on the left side, it's a little bigger stretch. Now right shoulder back, left shoulder forward. Turn your right toes out more. Sit into your left hip just a little bit. The more you slide the shoulder forward and let your hip hang into the stretch, the bigger the hip stretch will be and the more opening you'll start to get in the psoas. Good. Now push into the hand, inner spiral your arm round. Push into the foot. You're going to have to use your right foot to help you round the ribs. Drop both shoulders forward, elbow forward, right elbow forward toward right thigh. Suck the belly up. Go the other way. Drop your hip forward, pull your foot in. Good. So if you can really get in there, you can turn your hand around. To do that, think your fingers facing out, elbow bending back, shoulder blade coming back, then turn hand around, come to the top of the foot. Good, let it go. Nothing in the low back there?
Nope.
Bottom in front of the hip. Push into the hands to come back. Spread the front toes, and you're going to try to slide the front foot diagonally forward and right. The tighter it stays in toward you, the bigger the stretch is going to be, because the closer you'll be to a true Hanuman, which is a full split in the middle. So let's keep it a little wide. Slide forward, dropping the left hip to the mat. And you can walk your hands as far left as you need to. You're going to come to elbows. Good. Your left frontal hip point has to touch down to the mat. And then let's have elbows pretty close to the chest. You're kind of squeezing in on your own pecs here. Pushing your chest. Yeah, just a little. And then shoulders forward like you're going to army crawl on the mat. You're going to pull back with elbows, right? Yeah, feel that length in your core, length in your back. Okay, now push. It's good, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Push down through your elbows to bring your ribs up a little bit. Inhale. Exhale, just lift low belly. Don't close your ribs right now. And then pull back on the mat, leaning forward. You should get that feeling of your hip getting anchored to the mat as your ribs get pulled forward out of the hip.
Yep.
Okay, one more time, pushing through elbows, ribs come up, but don't close ribs and use hip. Let the belly hang, core hang. The pressure is just from elbows lifting the ribs up into the shoulder, not from core pulling back. Okay, keeping the pressure in elbows but no core. Inhale. Exhale, lift your low belly a little. Lean shoulders past arms, get that length, ribs coming out of the hips. Good. Now put your left hand on the mat with your elbow out. So you're starting out with the elbow parallel to the top of the mat. Move my foot so that you guys can see. Okay, so elbow like this. Your arm is parallel to the top of the mat. So turn your hand in. All right, from there, let's just turn both hands in. Bring your left elbow as far forward past your hand as you can. Good. Feel that lengthens outside. Okay, I'm going to put my leg back. From there, go ahead and bring your other elbow out. And think of both elbows coming past your hands. Yep, and drop your forehead to the hands to keep them there. Breathe. Push down through the hands. Try to suck the ribs up a little bit, and then pull back with elbows to bring ribs further forward and down to the mat again. Good. Feel that length in your sides. Okay, bring one elbow back at a time. I think right first is easier than left. Okay, let's bring your left elbow right under you, so it's going to support your body's weight a little bit. So your left elbow's got to come forward to hold you up. Good. Bend the back knee. Don't let your back hip lift off the ground and reach back with the right hand. You got it. Perfect. Okay, come to the top of the foot and pull the foot in toward the buttocks. Good. Now, same thing we were doing. You're going to push into the elbow a little. Pull back on that with elbow. Lean forward, pulling your ribs out of that hip. Same length we were getting. Yeah. You feel that? Good. One more time. Push into the elbow. Inhale. Exhale, pulling back, leaning forward. Good. If that's not too big a stretch, or if you want more stretch, we're going to put right elbow down. Try the other side. Reach back with your left hand for the foot. Push into the right elbow and bring your foot in closer. Not happening.
Oh yeah, I got it.
You got it. Keep your right elbow under you more. Pick it up. Good. Bring it down. That was good. All right. Go ahead and bring the elbows back, hands back. And then you're going to bend the back knee. Actually, let's tuck the toes and go straight to down dog. You can bend the back knee and pull back on the knee. We're going to try to skip that. Tuck toes. Push into hands to suck ribs up. Low belly pulls back, then push into the foot to bring the knee up. Low belly pulls the foot all the way back. Very nice. And stand back in your down dog. Good. Spread your fingers out. Okay, and then we're going to get the inner feet to touch. Really grab the mat with your toes. Pick up the heels. Really pick heels up high. Then come forward, shoulders right over hands. Shoulders back away from ears. Drop the chest down into your shoulder girdle. Pick it back up, push into the hands. Do it again, drop the chest down. Pick it back up, keep the ribs out high. Drop heels to the mat. Reach your hips back, soft bend in the knees. Ribs coming toward the thighs. Keep reaching hips back, heels back. Good job. Now reach your right heel to the mat more. Good, you don't have to straighten the leg if it's too much stretch. Bring your left leg up and back, open the hip. Nice. Very good. Okay, push more through your right hand. Bring it back down. Keep the hips square, keep the leg up though. That's it. Spread your right toes, try to lift onto that toe. Good, drop the heel back down to the mat. Bring the knee in without rounding the spine. Hips stay reaching back. Good, now separately start shifting body forward, no rounding. Good, then push into toes to come the rest of the way forward. Then push into hands, pick your ribs up, dome the back. Now take it back, heel first, then hips, then drop head through the arms, then reach the leg further back. Back it up, better, heel to the mat. Good job, bring it down. Very nice, how are we doing? Good. Okay, bring the right leg up and back. Open up the hip. Good job. Drop your chest down a little bit. Bend the supporting leg a little more. Good. Push onto the toes of the supporting leg. Good. Drop the heel back down. Good. Drop your right hip down. Bring your knee in, but keep your hips back. So keep the pressure in the hands as your boundary there. And start shifting your body forward. If you can't go any further, come onto the toes. Hold, then kick ribs up into shoulder girdle. Then lean back with heel. Then hips pulling back. Then pressure in hands, bring ribs further back, then extend the leg out. One more this time. Start by pushing into toes of the left foot. Bring your body forward, shoulders over hands. Push down into hands to dome the back. Now bring the knee in. Just a little different order. Good. Start bringing it back. Heel comes down first. Then unround the spine, hips go back. Then leg reaching back. Awesome. Bring it back down. Perfect. Roll over the toes, come to your knees. Good job. Open the knees wide. Let's try to open the feet wide. Sit back as deep as you can. Well, actually, first is walk hands forward. Let's get a stretch in your sides here. Turn your hands out. Drop your head through your arms, but pick your ribs up and back out of shoulder girdle. Perfect. Low belly drawn. Sit back as far as you can. You're going to inch hands back. Only enough to let you sit back to your deepest possible hip stretch. You may feel a little stretch in your knees here. If it's too much, you can bring the feet in. Closer toward your hips. Good job. Breathe. Let your head rest. Then come back forward by pulling back on the mat with your elbows, pushing into the feet and knees just a little bit. Hop your feet in first, and then press into the top of the feet to bring knees in. Good transition. Come up to hands. Turn hands out a little bit again, so index fingers are parallel to each other on the sides of the mat. Bring your left foot forward outside the left hand. Turn it out about 45 degrees, and also the knees should be open too. So knees going to be open past toes. Yep. So you should feel like your knees behind the foot. That means gravity's helping you open the hip. If your knee collapses inside the foot, the front of the hip is really close. So keep that knee out behind the foot. And then don't let the foot sickle and just die into your outer tendons. Knee open, hip open, but foot reaches back in, which stretches here, which goes with the stretch here in the front of the hip. Okay, so that's a tough one, but try to find that. Drop your hips forward. Keep that foot honest. You can roll the right knee under a little bit. Move your hips over the left heel. So lots of weight. You're putting your weight right on top of that foot with the knee outside of it so your hip will open more. Good. So you're starting to get space between hips and ribs on that side. So bring the right hand back a little. Left hand forward. You're basically in a straight line. You can tuck the back toes if you want to add more weight bearing. Bring your right elbow down. Left elbow hugging in. Kind of pushing your ribs to the left, and your hip drops left. Then let's see if you can go further. Bring the hand back, bring the elbow forward, and drop into your left hip more. Yes, so that left side opening up. You put your right elbow down. Breathe. Okay, push into the foot a little bit. If you want the back leg in the air to make it deeper, you can do that. Keep that left elbow going forward, left hip going back. Foot helps make space between the two. Your right elbow is supporting you, or your hand if you want to use that chaturanga arm hand. The elbows at a 90-degree angle. Good, and bring it back up. How are we doing? Okay. Okay, hands to the mat. Right hand right under you. Bend the back knee. I want you to really lean forward so you're on your quad, not your kneecap when you bend the knee. Hip dropping. This hip dropping. Reach back with your left hand for the foot. Okay. Got it. That's it. Perfect. Come to the top of the foot when you get there.
That side side.
Side side, then just stay. Breathe wherever you are. If you can pull the foot into the buttocks, go ahead and do that. If you feel like it's too short, hop the knee further back. You look pretty long, right? I don't know if you go further back. Okay, once you pull your foot in, you can turn the hand around if you've got that. That comes from elbow back, shoulder blade back, and then the hand turns to the top of the foot. Come in. That's only if you need a deeper stretch. Okay, breathe. Push down through the hand. Let your foot drop back a little. And then round. You're going to suck the belly up a little bit. Push through this hand to pick your ribs up out of the shoulder girdle. Low belly drawing up and back. Good. You basically just killed a little bit of your hip stretch. Then you're gonna drop the hip down first, then let your ribs drop and your shoulder girdle more. Open your left chest up to face left, and then pull your foot back in. Yeah, got a little easier. Let's try one more time. Let the foot drop back. Push with your left foot as much as you push with your right hand. Suck the belly up and back. Now we go round. You're trying to round. There we go. Both shoulders round forward. Your left elbow could come forward, the left knee even. That's it. Okay, now start coming forward long in that push-up position. Right hip dropping. Then roll your right shoulder open. Pull the foot in a little deeper. Better. Good, deeper. Good. Let it go. Okay, let's go ahead and sit back. Hips dropping back. Your toes are going to come off the mat. Rock the hips back. Rock the hips back. Good. And then bring elbows to the mat. Drop your head through your arms. You can roll over the back toes if you feel too much pressure in the knee. You can keep a bend in your knee if you need to and keep the toes on the ground if that's better for you. Just trying to find a little stretch in the hip, maybe a little stretch in the hamstring.
Left foot out.
You're avoiding the stretching a bit, but yeah, you can do that. Check your toes out a little if you can do that. There you go. Yeah, don't stretch the hips still.
Yep.
The spine is long, sides are long. Hips dropping back. That's good. Okay, bring it back up to your hands. Now you're going to try to slide that foot forward. The closer to you it stays, the bigger the stretch. The wider away from you it goes, the less the stretch. And you're going to walk your elbows diagonally forward and right, down to the mat. Your right hip, right frontal hip, has to touch down. The bone has to touch down. Yeah, feel that? Both elbows have to touch down. Okay, your elbows are going to kind of squeeze in on your chest a little. I mean, you're not really actually trying to squeeze, you're just crowding the front in order to lengthen the back a little. Shoulders forward, leaning past elbows. Feel that lengthen your spine a little, lengthen your side ribs. Okay, now push into your elbows to pick your ribs up in the shoulder girdle, but let the belly go. Don't suck the core up too, let the belly go. I want those muscles lax right now so we can pull on. Inhale. Exhale, lift the belly a little, and then do that forward lean again, elbows digging back into the mat to pull your ribs forward out of your hips. Feel that length? Do it again. Little pressure in elbows, pick ribs up, but don't suck them up. Don't use hips, don't use the core. Let the core go. Try to lengthen those muscles. They have to be soft right now. Inhale. Exhale, lift the belly a little. Pull back with elbows, ribs come forward out of that hip. Hip is stuck to the mat. So when you pull your ribs forward, your hip gets stuck and you get length between ribs and hip. Feeling it? Okay, let's bring your right elbow forward, right under your chest, right under your shoulder, so that it can support you, so that you can lift out of that shoulder girdle or sit into either one. Then sit into it. Bend the back knee. Don't let your right hip bubble up off the mat. That's the right hip holding, staying contracted. And bring your left hand back. Now push in the right elbow to reach. Good, bring your foot in, you got it. And then hand comes over the top of the toes. Pull it in. If you pull across to the left butt cheek, it's less of a stretch. If you pull it on the same side more to the right, it's a little bigger stretch. Good. So you can put your hand on the ground as a pivot point, and then bring your elbow way out in front. Forehead on the hand. So you want your elbow to pass your hand, which really opens the ribs on that side a lot more and helps you open out of the front of the hip. Feel that? 3. Keep working on releasing the right hip. Low belly softly coming out of the front of that hip. Elbow working a little further forward. And then let the foot go. Bring it back up. Okay, let's play with the hands here. You're going to bring your right elbow as far forward as it'll go. And bring your left elbow as far forward as it'll go. And then bring your forehead down to the back to the hands. Push down through the hands a little bit as you inhale. Push down through elbows a little. Try to pick your ribs up. And then pull forward and down. Get longer out of the hip. Reach your elbow a little further forward. Good. Bring the elbows back. And then come to the hands. Okay, let's go straight to tucking the back toes. Come all the way to hands. Yes.
Pretty comfortable.
Okay, pick your ribs up, pick up the belly, then push into the foot to pick the leg up. Good, now push with hands to lift ribs, pull with low belly to pull hips. Bring that foot all the way back. Good. And find your down dog again. Very nice. Good job. Okay, dropping heels toward the mat. Think of bringing your hips back, pushing into hands to bring the ribs back out of the shoulder girdle. Drop your head down for the soft bend in your knees. Very nice. Heels reach for the mat because hands help push you back there by bringing your ribs out of the shoulder girdle longer. Okay. So getting a lot of length in your side body. Drop the head through the arms. Good. So you can start bringing your head down toward the mat through the arms. Or dropping your head back so far, chest back so far. Good. Soft bending elbows. That's it. And bring it back up. Come forward, come onto toes. Lift your ribs by pushing into hands. Suck the low belly up and then flatten out your plank. Come forward, hips forward, shoulders to past hands a little. Bend your elbows straight back, coming toward chaturanga, nice and slow. Shoulders back, and then drop them all the way down. Good. Elbows forward, take them about even with the chest. Okay. Shoulders dropping further forward than your elbows should pull you out of your lumbar spine. Good. Then we're going to put pressure into the entire forearm to bring ribs up, low belly up off the mat. And then let that go, get your length back again. Good. And then roll just your right shoulder back. Feel that upper back, but don't crunch low back. Left shoulder forward. Switch. Left shoulder back, right shoulder forward. Right shoulder, right side long, left shoulder blade back. Switch. It's like a little twist just in the upper body, using shoulder blades to make it happen. Yeah, no crunching in low back, right? Switch, no crunching in neck either. Switch, as that shoulder goes back, it should feel like your neck and collarbone are getting real long on that right side. Head is reaching forward and down. Switch. Good, you should feel your upper back, switch. Now stay in the middle, head is forward and down. Elbows are pulling back on the mat to get ribs to pull long out of both hips now. Then try to roll shoulders back, only as far as you can, not crunching your low back. Once you have that, you feel upper back muscles, you can start bringing the back of the neck up a little bit more and left the spine. And then you can push a little more through elbows. Keep pulling ribs forward through the hands, coming toward a cobra.
You start to feel your low back. You've gone too far. You good in the low back?
No.
No?
No.
You don't feel it, or you do feel it?
I don't feel it.
You don't feel it. Good. So you're good in your low back. Keep pulling back on the mat with elbows to keep pulling ribs forward, making space in the front and back of the hips. Low back long, front of the hips giving space. And see if you can roll shoulders back a little more. See if you push into the hands. Slide your shoulders up. And then slide them back down, elbows to the mat. Do it again. Slide your shoulders straight up. Don't let them go forward or back. Slide them straight back down to the mat. One more time. Slide them up. Slide them down, put pressure there. Now do the opposite. Pushing through elbows, bring your ribs straight up. Yeah. So your cobra knee coming back on into your low back.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, and then bring it all the way forward.
Okay, let's push into the elbows, bend the knees, and then walk your elbows back just a little bit, maybe about 6 inches, and then hips drop back until ribs can touch knees, elbows stay way out in front. You won't be able to sit all the way back. You're trying to get ribs toward thighs. There we go. Feel that stretch in your sides. Put the forehead into the mat as far back as you'll reach. Breathe. Okay, pull back with the elbows to come forward. Lift your low belly, middle abs, coming all the way up. Down, down, low belly under, tailbone under. So you can keep coming forward like that. See if you can come all the way forward until the belly can come to the mat. You can lay down. Good, nothing to low back. Nice. Push your elbows to pick low belly up first. You got it, you got it, you got it, you got it. And then core reaching down. Very nice. Drop the head. Good. Tuck your toes. Bring elbows in.
I know. Look at me.
Elbows parallel to each other. Yes. Okay. Keep your elbows that far out in front of you as you push through the feet to bring your hips up. You got it. Push, just push right from there, hips back and up. Hips back, hips back. There's your upper back bend, beautiful. Reach through the left heel to straighten, drop your right knee toward the mat. Keep your left sitting bone going up and back. Keep that pressure and hands through elbows. Switch. Ribs are back to get the heel toward the mat. There we go, switch. Let that right knee hang as left hip goes back, switch. Let the left knee hang, left hip hang as right hip goes back. Come back to the middle and bring it forward. Pick your ribs up, bend the knees, and then let the tuck go, let the hips go. Sit all the way back. Good.
How we doing?
Good. You feel kind of everything warming up.
Yeah.
Okay, keep the toes tucked a lot. And then walk it back to your hands. Try to keep your toes tucked. See if you can lift your knee up above the foot a little. Bring it back, tucking the toes more. Don't let the foot move back on the mat. Trying to get into a foot stretch here. And then sit back. Okay, good feet. Okay. Let's turn hands backwards. This time take them out as far as you can. So the further they go, the bigger the stretch because the bigger that flexion. I want you to go as far as you can without getting stuck so that your chest starts holding, trying to limit that stretch, and your elbows try to hyperextend. You've got to be able to bend the elbows, you've got to be able to move shoulders freely. Okay, so that's your test. Go as far forward as you can with that mobility still intact, bending the elbows, and then you're going to push into the toes a little bit, like you're going to pick your ball of your foot up just with the toes, and then let that go. Do that again, push your toes a little. Now suck your low belly up, tailbone under. Keep the toes lifting. Try not to use upper back. And then drop head in toward you. Push through hands to suck the belly back and spread your back out more. Good. Now go the other way. Start putting pressure back in the hands. Let weight come forward. Let your thoracic spine drop between the shoulder blades. Ribs coming forward. And then low belly draw drops to the thighs. Good. Do it again. Low belly draws first. Then ribs come. Then some pressure in hands. Good, put a soft bend in elbows while you're back here. It's going to deepen the hand stretch. Your core is holding your weight back, pulling down. Good, then roll back through that right hand. Keep core, not the hips. Bring it back down. Rolling back through the left hand. Bending the fingers back, bring it back down. Good, and then let your weight release back into your hands. So don't hold the core anymore. Let your core start to release. Your chest drops forward, shoulder blades sliding together behind the ribs. Head is dropped. Now push into your feet to bring your hips up. Okay. Bend your elbows back. I want your elbows to be pretty much right over your hands and your shoulders to be past that. So lean forward. The only thing keeping you from falling on your nose is that your shoulders are pulling back. So you should feel the serratus, the muscles underneath the armpits, those little muscles that run along your ribs there. Those should be engaged. Now I want you to try to bend elbows, dropping chest straight down toward the mat. Good to come up, push through hands, push through elbows, lift your middle abs. Keep your elbows wide enough, suck the belly up, round. More, belly up, drop head, spread the shoulder blades now. Good to come back down. Your ribs go as much forward as your hips go back. So you unfold in opposite directions, hands pulling back, shoulders pulling back so you don't fall forward, but hips pulling back too. And as your shoulders pull back, your ribs get pulled forward, hips pulling back, knees forward. One more time. Drop your chest toward the mat. It's going to deepen your hand stretch. Try to stay level. Then suck middle abs up, rounding the spine. Middle abs. There you go. Keep going with that. Keep going with that. Good. Drop the head, drop tail, rounding. Opening back. And then go the other way. Hips back, chest forward, and sit down into your stretch. Good. Sit all the way back. Good. And we done. So some arm balances from there. And get a little better. Elbows coming in. And you can put your weight into the arms. Start lifting. Alright. In any event, we're going to go into the other hand stretch. Roll back through the right hand. Tuck the fingers in, knuckles on the mat. Fingers stay long. They can close, but they don't tuck in, so you don't squish them. Right? So just there, roll it back. Fingers to the mat. Good. Turn your hand this way. Thumb and pinky spreading. Okay, you can roll the shoulder forward. That's killing the stretch, lessening this degree of flexion. Let's flatten the left hand out. So we spoke on the right side. Bring your left hand more to the middle. So put your weight into it. Right elbow forward to start. Let yourself kill the stretch. Now there's kind of nothing happening there. And you feel more weight in the wrist than the hand, which is not what we want, but most of your weight's in your left hand. You're going to roll the elbow back until it won't roll anymore. Then you're going to lift your right shoulder up and back. Finish the outer spiral so bicep faces forward. That's your stretch. It's okay if the base of the hand lifts a little. Okay, then we're going to bend the elbows straight back. Keep thumb to pinky wide. And then roll forward. Be soft with this stretch in the wrist. Do it again. Shoulder back. Feel the serratus a little. Bend the elbow. Keep it low. Be soft with this stretch. Roll it back forward. Last one, try to keep the arm outer spiral the whole time, never come in here. And then roll back all the way out of it. Good, one little quick counter stretch, reach way out in front, just bend fingers back. And let your elbow and wrist, or elbow and shoulder drop a little. Maybe you can roll further into the hand stretch. Maybe you go with tips to come all the way down. And then roll back out of it. Good. Other side, flatten the right hand. Left hand, back of the hand on the mat, fingers pointed to you. If that's too much, you can always turn the hand sideways. If you notice wrists and hands are really tight, that's running right up the line to neck and shoulders, or vice versa. You want to open this whole thing up. Okay, your elbow can bend forward, your shoulder can drop forward, totally killing the stretch. Yep, don't overdo that. Then pull the elbow in. When your elbow can't go in anymore, it's because your shoulder's in the way. So roll your shoulder back, use your serratus. Then finish spiraling through the arm, that rotation through the wrist joint, helping to stretch forearm and wrist. Good, feel it? Mm-hmm. Keep a lot of weight in the right hand. You can put more weight into the stretch, but you want to decide easily, softly, how much weight you're going to put there. You don't want to have it collapse there. Overstretch your wrist. Now start bending elbow back, shoulder rolling back as you do it. Think of your elbow, your forearm trying to come parallel to the ground. Yep, keeping thumb to pinky wide like that signal from the 80s. Roll it back down. Good. Keeping the outer spiral on the arm, bicep facing forward the whole time. Do it again. This hand's really pushing to help you keep support. Not pushing, just supporting. Roll back, elbow coming back, elbow low to the mat. Yeah. And then roll and fold. Good, roll all the way out of it. And then take the counter stretch, fingers bend back, reach a good amount out in front of you. Don't bring shoulder to the ear to do that. And then let your shoulder drop, elbow drop, forearm, again, trying to be parallel to the mat. And then roll forward, you're gonna have to lift hips to complete it. Maybe you're flexible enough the hand to just reach there and then roll back. Okay. Open and close the hand. Very good. You're feeling the feet stretch? Yeah. 10 fingers right next to the knee. And pick the knees up. Drop your heels towards your mat. Hey! Feels better, right? That face wasn't entirely yay. It's like, ah! Okay, let's open your knees wide. Okay? The inner foot is trying to stay toward each other. So you're not letting your feet sickle out, right? So you're not like this on the side of your foot. You're still trying to get the inner foot to flatten in toward each other. It's hard as the knees open. But that's the work. That's the opposition. As the knees pull out, the feet pulling back in and trying to flatten all the toes into the mat. Yeah, feel that?
Yep.
Hands go forward, not to your biggest reach, because that's going to pull you forward on the toes, just until you feel like you can hold the mat enough to let your hips drop back the other way, drop head through arms. Heels don't have to flatten, but you're working toward that and you're sucking low belly back. Put some soft pressure in the feet to lift hips, and then drop them down again, making sure they release. The knees opening with the feet active. Think of keeping the big toe down, but the other toes trying to spread and lift. You may not actually lift, at least not until your heels touch down. Okay. And then pull back on the elbows to come back. Forward. Knees come together again. Bring your fingers back. Good. How are we doing? Good. Okay. Inner feet trying to stay toward each other. Really, more than anything, you're activating outer foot. So think of lifting the pinky side of the foot out and forward, like you're racking that forward. At the same time, inner foot, big toe, big knuckle are reaching back. So there's a little inner spiral in your feet. Okay? And then see if you can sit your sitting bones right on your heels. Bring heels really high with the feet. Good. How are we doing? Okay. Now, let your inner foot come apart a little bit. So your feet are just barely apart. Your inner foot is parallel. And then heels open a little to open sitting bones a little. Then suck knees back in. So now you're keeping heels a little open, but knees pulling in, low belly pulling back. Come to fingers, keep your weight forward, and see if you can find your balance by really grabbing that with toes and feet. Low belly sucking in, knees hugging in, hands into prayer, and if you feel comfortable, use your middle abs to start lengthening up. Elbows wide, shoulders can be a little forward to find core better. Good. Bring hands back to the mat. Drop your heels back, hands forward, hips up and down. Hands forward further, lean into your hands. There you go, hips up and down. Good, now walk your hands back. Very nice. Okay, let's take feet about hip width apart, maybe 2 or 3 inches. Let's actually just do 2 or 3 inches. That is about hip width. Most people just go wider. And then heels a little wider than toes. So a little bit pigeon-toed. Bend your knees until you can bring your ribs to rest on your thighs. So the tighter your hamstrings, the deeper that bend is going to be. I want your ribs to actually connect with and rest on your thighs. I don't care how far you have to bend. The deeper you have to bend, the more you feel your quads. All right, keeping ribs rested on the thighs. Think of those floating ribs, your lowest ribs, as trying to come as far forward on the thighs as you can get them. Okay, keeping that rest happen. Let your head drop. Bring your hands behind the head, slide up to the top of the head. The top of the head, slide down, down. Yeah, there we go. Not that far. Still at the back. It's kind of back rounding the front. And then elbows hug in toward legs. Pull your head in. Just stretch the back. And lift your shoulders up and back away from ears. Keeping ribs connected with thighs. Try to start using the head dropping in between the feet to start bringing hips higher. Ribs do not disconnect from thighs. Now let your shoulders and elbows hang to the mat. I'll pick them up away from ears again. There we go. Shoulders and elbows hang. Ribs stay on that shelf on your thighs, and then pick shoulders away from ears. Last one, let them hang. Bring hands to the mat. Keep the ribs hanging, shoulders hang. Try to start straightening the right leg back, but keep your left leg and left ribs connected. Okay, right leg doesn't have to straighten, but try. And then bring your right heel in a little bit, toes out a little. Take your weight further back, hip behind heel more. Should start to feel your ribs opening away from pelvic bowl. Feel that stretching your right side, right hip. Okay, bring it back, square off the foot, pigeon toe the foot again. Bring ribs as far forward and down on the thighs as you can. Let your head hang. Start hugging left hip back. Think of straightening the left leg a little bit more. Keep right ribs and thigh connected. You can pull left heel in, toes out a little, the outer spiral leg, opening the hip more. You can even turn to look under that left armpit. Lift your left elbow a little. Good. Feel the left side open more. Bring it back to the middle. Last one. Right hip hugging back, right heel in a little. Spin the hips out. Bring it back to the middle, re-square. Left heel in, left hip back. Nice. And bring it back to the middle. Very good. Walk hands forward. Let's take feet as wide as the mat. Okay, bring hips back, bend your knees. Try to bring your ribs inside your own thighs. Hug the knee, keep bending. Good. Hug the knees in on your own ribs. See if you can bring elbows toward the mat. They don't have to touch. Keep hips high, keep hips high. Lean forward into hands and elbows. Let's try that again. Come into it again. Hands out in front. Feet as wide as the mat. Heels wider than toes. Hips reaching back. That's what we've been working on today. Keep hips reaching back as you bend your knees. Knees open. Now we're talking. Bring it down. Bend your knees. Hips dropping. Come on. Hips dropping. Hips dropping. Right there. Hold. Bring elbows towards you. That's it. Breathe. Shift weight forward in the hands a little. Good job. Good job.
They're going.
What's that? They're done. They're over it. All right, come on down. Let's do that part I promised where you get to do it with laying on the
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Grab your bolster. And let's grab your red ball. Okay. All right, bolster under the legs. Red ball is going to be under the kind of upper middle back. Let's say middle. Let's say right under floating ribs is how we'll describe that. Arms forward. Bring your shoulder blades together. We're still measuring where the ball goes. Ignore my balls yet. Bring your shoulder blades together on the ball. You feel the ball there?
Yep.
Okay, good. Tailbone is under. Shoulder blades should be able to roll over the back of the ball. Yeah, you feel that?
Yeah.
The ball looks a little high.
No high?
Now, bring it down your spine and touch. The easiest way is to bring your bolster back and roll.
Okay.
Use your feet to direct where the ball is. Yeah. Good. Okay. Hands behind your head. Okay. Cradling the head. The same thing we did when you were supporting ribs. Think of your elbows coming around so that you've got a lot of space here in the back of the shoulder where the neck is. And then chin in, neck dropping back into your hands. These muscles, serratus, intercostals, pulling the shoulders forward, but your head is dropping back. Head is dropping back into the hands. Yes. So that next stretch. Breathe. Just gonna roll
bolster up to hips. Tailbone under and let your legs release over the bolster. Just keep the neck stretch. And then start laying back. Neck should be parallel with the floor. Ribs open. Your head doesn't have to touch the ground. To come back up, don't try to round the thoracic spine. Pull the head. Pull the head. Shoulder blades, lats underneath here are what you're using. Then draw your ribs in. Then bring the head forward. If your bolster's too close, push it away a little. So that we're doing next. Do that again. Slowly dropping back. Your shoulder blades are forward. They're also wrapped around. Your elbows in your peripheral vision will mean your shoulder blades are spreading off the back, coming around. Feel your serratus. Start dropping the head into the hands. You're really putting weight of the head back into the hands. And then as you lay back, ribs open. Let your head drop back, neck parallel to the floor. To come back up, use your serratus to pull. Hands pull head. Core isn't active yet other than serratus. Once your head is up and neck is beyond parallel, then you start using some core, pulling ribs in. Nothing in your lower back this whole time. Round forward, elbows reach further forward, shoulder blades slide off the back, belly sucks back. Good. And then drop head into hands. Let your ribs open. Let your core get long. Dropping back over the ball into upper back bend. Good, last one. Pull hands. Or hands pull head, I should say. So it is pulling hands. Ribs drop in once you're up on it. And round and forward. You should feel nothing in the low back. Okay. Push your bolster forward. Okay, bring your feet to the edge of the bolster. Lifting hips, I want you to roll forward on your ball until your ball is right behind your shoulder blade. That's far enough, maybe too far. You should still feel upright with your upper body, so hands come to head to support your neck. Feel like your upper back and neck are parallel to the wall behind you. Okay. Move your bolster far enough forward so that you can actually have some movement in your hips. Okay. A little bit of pressure in feet. Let's take knees wide. Feet wide, feet wide. A little bit of pressure in feet is all you should need. Heels are dropped off the bottom edge of your bolster. Spread the toes. Okay. Draw your middle abs to bring your middle back to the mat. Tiniest pressure in feet. And let that go. Your pubic bone drops back forward, but keep a little bit of middle abs, a little bit of transverse abdominals and low belly. Do it again. Low belly pulls your low back to the mat. Soften your upper body. Yeah. And then let it drop back forward again. Better. Two more, low belly, pull, pull, keeping the low belly, middle abs, slide your shoulders forward, elbows forward and up. Middle abs suck deeper. Good. And then release the shoulders. Keep middle abs, drop, keep it going forward. Okay, shoulders straight into your ball now. Throw them down into your ball, like the shoulder blades are stabbing the ball. Lay back, ribs coming up and over that point where shoulder blades are stabbing the ball. Let your head drop. Say again.
I think the ball's too high up. I can't get my chest up and over.
You're okay. It's not going to be the same as the last stretch.
Okay.
Bring your head back up, chin in. I want your ribs to be able to drop into the mat here. Let the ribs drop down. Yeah, you wouldn't drop the ball up there. Okay. Now keep your pubic going forward though. No tucking. Yeah, you tucked everything in. Let's try it again. Just find the lower half of the body now. Middle abs, draw a little pressure in feet, supports that, but keep your back door open here. Keep the sitting bones apart, keep the groin open, keep all this stuff open. Okay. And let it drop back forward, keeping that open, pubic bone, tailbone come through that. Okay, now keep your low belly engaged there. As you lay back, shoulders come back a little, feel shoulder blades into the ball, ribs open, and lay back. Let your head drop. Okay, then just bring your head up with your hands. And your serratus. Don't tuck. Now let your ribs drop without tucking it better. Yeah, feel the difference?
Yep.
Good, now low belly, middle abs drop. Up to bring middle back down. And then let it drop forward. Good, try to feel that?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to use that. Keep the heels and the feet wide. Drop your right knee in and down, and your left knee comes in on top of it. Good. Yeah, keep that right knee dropping, bring your right elbow out to the mat, try to bring it a little behind you, and slide over to the right, try to bring the floating ribs to the right, or roll your ball right. You should feel a diagonal stretch from right knee up the right side of the body. Feel this? Yeah, you feel a stretch.
Yep.
Yeah, bring it back up. To go left, both knees rest into each other. First test that. Your knees should be able to touch and rest into each other. Good. Okay? Now lift your outer left foot. Drop the left knee and think of sliding it down your right shin. Look at that. Yeah, right knee stays close too. This hip starts dropping forward. Your ribs come across left, elbow to the mat. You're trying to make space between these two. As this leg spirals in and down, it pulls the hip forward. As the ribs come across, elbow up, it opens your ribs here. Feel that?
Yep.
This elbow comes forward. Your right elbow comes across to the left, keeping head long. This knee is in, focusing your low belly. Lift your arches. Yeah. Good stretch. That looks better. Don't let this knee die away. Good. This knee being in helps you focus in the low belly. Bring it back up. Okay, let's switch. Knees have to be able to touch. And the right knee slides in and down on the left shin. Right outer foot lifting. Right inner foot on the bolster. Bring right elbow to the mat. Bring your ribs right. Keep reaching right knee forward, right hip forward. Left elbow comes forward and left head is in. Left knee stays in. Don't let it go away. That's what focuses you in core. Creates slack in hips. You can pull pelvic bowl down. Feel that?
Yep.
Okay, bring back up. Good stop. Keep knees touching. It's better than inner spiral. A lot of people have trouble with this. Bring your hands, fingers facing in, onto your groin, right where the leg meets the hip. Think of pushing your own groin forward. Tailbone drops forward. Sitting bones come apart. Outer feet bend. Feel that? That pressure? Okay. I'll release that pressure. Middle abs can draw back. Do it again. Push groin muscles forward. Sitting bones open. Pubic bone comes through that space. Feel that?
Yep. There's an arch in the low back.
There will be, but it's not because your
It's
low
not
back
coming
is
from it,
flexing.
no.
It's not coming from there.
No.
That's right. The shape, there's nothing wrong with most
Right.
shapes. We can make most shapes of the body. It's what muscles are engaged versus what muscles are disengaged. So if this forward comes from pushing your hands, groin muscles releasing, back door muscles opening, you get lengthened here, it's fine. Your low back will have an arc, but there's supposed to be a little arc in the lumbar spine. It should not feel like your back is crunching at all. Then go the other way. Suck your low belly away from that. Try to make space in here. Feel how that makes space in your low back? Then you drop your low belly. Feel the difference? Now you've got a lot more space in the lumbar spine. Okay? Keeping low belly. Release a little pressure in the feet. Push forward in the groin. Keep it going forward. But keep low belly spreading across. Feel that? Bring it back. Low belly pulling away from that. Yeah. Feel the space you're getting? Good. All right. Let's go ahead and bring your left foot back.
This ball has to be further back.
Further down on the spine.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
noticed you're up more.
Yeah, that's right. You want to be upright.
Mhm.
Put your right hand behind your head. Left foot comes back. Left knee's on your bolster. Good. Tailbone's under. Yeah, good. So you don't want the pelvic bowl to lift. This wants to stay short. Brings pelvic bowl up, crunches low back. That's a no-no. Tailbone is under. Low belly drawing. If this is killing the top of your foot, it's because your hip won't release. And you may need to sit on a block to do this. Okay? You need to elevate the hips a little bit to lessen the stretch. Okay, let's see. You got it though. Let's bring both hands to the head. Let's start by going over to the left. Bring your left elbow to the mat pretty far back. Support your head with your right hand. Okay, bring your ribs across. Keep the left knee reaching forward. Good. Toes touching the hip. Turn your right toes out. Let the right knee drop open. Feel how that makes the pelvic bowl want to lift. Don't let it. Keep pulling your knee. Think of rounding. Yes. Good. Okay, bring the knee back up. A little bit of pressure in the foot will help you find this. Okay, let's reach the top of the head forward and ribs drop in. Release the head. Bring it back up. Good. How you doing? Let's go to the other side. Left hand we're supporting neck. You don't want to go to neck here. Come across to the right. Right elbow wide, right ribs come to the mat. Right knee drops left. Toward the left leg, just like what we did a minute ago. Yeah, you feel that? Keep coming over to the right. Left elbow forward. Breathe. bring it back up. Good. Take that foot out of the stretch. And let's get the other foot into the stretch. Your right foot back, knee forward, toes tucked. The left heel is out wide on your mat. So let's go a little tighter. Okay, so you may need your purple block under your hips to lift the hips up a little bit, possibly. Or just breathe and give yourself a minute to get those muscles to release and accept the stretch. Good. That's right, tailbone is under. Good. If it's real tight, lay back right away. Lay back over your ball. Let your ribs open a little bit. Give it a second without the big stretch, because as we come up and drop the pelvic bowl down, that's increasing the stretch, right? Okay. Inhale, lay back there. As you exhale, hands pull the head up. Don't drop ribs yet. Dropping ribs is what's going to increase the stretch because it starts to drop in the pelvic bowl. Inhale again. As you exhale, slowly let ribs start to drop. Reach the knee forward away from that, making some space. The right knee. Yeah, feel a little space in that head. Good. Let's bring it over to the right elbow to the mat. Slide your elbow wide so your ribs can come toward the mat. Actually roll to the right of the ball. Keep the right knee reaching forward. Turn your left toes out. Drop the left knee open. Keep some pressure in that foot. Keep the left elbow forward. Head forward. Right shoulder forward. Trying to get the shoulder in front of your right elbow. Good. And then bring the knee back up. Bring it back to the middle. Just one to the other side. Hand under the head. Elbow forward. Left elbow to the mat, and then roll on your ball to the left. Elbow coming back further opens your ribs more, which is what you want. You want length here. Head forward. Drop the knee across, lift the outer foot. Good. So your left knee goes right. Yeah, feel the stretch? Keep the head forward. Breathe. Middle abs drop as you exhale. And come back to the middle. Very nice. Take your feet out of the stretch. Pick your hips up. Roll forward until the ball's under head and neck. And roll it back. Let the ball back low. Good. And then you're going to bring your feet to the front of the bolster. Bring the bolster up to your hips. Pressure in feet, suction in low belly. So don't squeeze glutes to lift hips. That puts pressure in the low back. Muscles don't push, they pull. So pull from the front. You can push with feet, which is a pull from quads. And pick your hips up. Butts loose, no squeezing butt. And then put your hips on the bolster. Good, how are we doing?
Good.
Ball under head, hips on bolster, upper back should be able to touch the ground and arms reach up and knees come in. Yeah, ball may need to roll a little further back. And then feet up, hands under the heels, cup the heels. I'm going to turn off that little timer over here. It's telling me some she's wrapping up. Almost done. Alright, so that's not the way we come into that. You don't just hop into it like that.
I don't think my upper back is flat, is it?
Yes, I don't see any light under it.
Okay,
You don't
good.
feel your ribs or your shoulder blades touching the ground? No, you're good. Your back is tight. If anything between the ball and the bolster is touching the ground, you're good.
Okay.
Okay. And then you're going to bring your hands under the inside the legs and then under heels. Cup your heels. Open the legs. Let your low back release here. Try to think of your knees coming toward the mat softly. Your low back, lumbar spine releasing. Let all the weight come into the head. Chin dropping down. Don't push back into your ball here, but let your weight come into the ball. Okay. Go ahead and spread your elbows wide. Think of your right elbow pinning right knee a little more toward the mat. Maybe you can even use that as leverage to shift ribs a little left. These are just little movements. Left elbow pins the left knee toward the mat. If you can use that as leverage to shift ribs a little right. Good, feel that? It's just a little back and forth between hips and ribs. Okay, staying in the middle. Let go of the right leg. Put your right foot on the mat. Drop your right arm back behind you. Right foot to the mat. When you slide your foot forward, try to keep the knee low and reach through the foot. Low pressure in head as you reach out. Good job. Nice. Reach all the way through your big toe. That's it. Don't pin the left knee to the ground. Let it lift a little. Reach. As you exhale, bring the right arm up. Ribs dropping down, big toe reaching forward. Inhale here. Exhale, spread the shoulder blade off the back, then reach it back. Reach the hip forward. And bring it back in. Hand under the heel. Second side. Left leg, let's go. Gonna reach forward, reach the left arm back. That's it. Right heel is pushing into the right hand, and you're letting that knee come forward a little. Reach through the left side, you're softly pushing into the ball. It's okay if your back lifts off and that a little here. Now feel the length of the hip. All the way through quad if we reach through the toe. Inhale in. As you exhale, bring the left arm up, keep the reach in the hip. And this is shorty knee. This is why we don't wear jewelry when we do yoga. Drop the shoulder into the mat, inhale. And exhale, spread that shoulder blade off the ground. Drop the arm back again. Yeah, got that extra length in the hip. Good, bring it back in. Very nice. Go ahead and roll the ball out from under the head. Laying flat on the mat. Okay. Bring your bolster higher under the ribs, way up. Shoulders should still be able to touch the ground. Yeah. Bring your feet in close. Okay. And feet should be able to push the mat forward. Elbows should fit to the top of the bolster. Push it down, but barely. Okay, let's drop your right knee in and down. Move your ribs and head to the right. Actually move them over so you've got a diagonal from the knee to the right ribs. Then your left elbow comes into the bolster, trying to push left, bring your ribs right, reach your right arm back. Keep that right knee dropping in and down. You should feel a stretch in the front of the hip. Good. To add more, you can bring the foot up, left foot across, pull it over. Good. Nothing should happen in low back. You good? Keep the pressure in left elbow, protect low back. Open and lift toes. Breathe. As you exhale, bring your arm up, ribs dropping into the mat. Shoulder blade can pull down on your bolster a little to keep ribs pulling away from the hip. Knee reaching away from ribs. Good. Uncross your leg, bring it back up. Okay, bring your ribs to the middle, head to the middle. Let's go to the other side. Feet are up close to your bolster and as wide as your mat. Drop your left knee in and down. Outer foot lifting, inner foot touching the ground from big toe to inner heel. Move your ribs and head over to the left. Your right elbow pushes into your bolster to keep your ribs left. Left arm up and back, dropping the knee in and down. So you should feel a diagonal stretch from the knee in between or kind of inside the pelvic bowl, up the sides of the ribs, side of the left ribs. Okay, keep pressure in right elbow and cross the leg over. Add the weight to the stretch. You good in the low back?
Right leg.
Right leg crosses over left knee, pulling it across. Yep, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Inhale. Keep pressure in that right elbow. As you exhale, your shoulder blade can pull down to pull ribs in a little longer, but let the knee drop forward. And then across the leg. Push into the foot to roll it back up. How are you?
Hey, I put a little something in my back that time, but it wasn't bad.
Just on that side?
Yeah, I think not enough
If you feel,
pushing.
if you get too much in the lower back, you can bring the bolster down.
Okay.
Okay, just to make sure
Okay.
it's a little more fully
Yeah.
supported. Still the same basic stretch,
Mhm.
it's just a little less.
Yeah.
You don't have to do as much controlling through the core
Mhm.
here, because your low back is more supported. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and push the bolster to the tip of the tailbone, so you will release any tension you just put in your low back. Your pelvic bowl is aimed to the ground. Really putting a little curve in the low back, and then bring one knee in at a time. Let's hold on to the patella, hold on right to the kneecap. Your elbows can rest on the mat if you have that stretch. If not, then just rest as close as you can come. Feet should be just angled down the top. Take your left hand, you're going to straighten the left arm. As you do that, pulling the knee forward. The foot hangs out to the left. That weight of your foot hanging down toward the mat puts a little inner spiral in your leg, and low belly pulls across right, like ribs are trying to shift away from that hip. And to switch, come back through the middle. Low belly starts pulling ribs left, foot drops open and right, and the right hand is holding the weight of that foot. feel outer hip and low belly coming away, your legs too straight, bend the knees, so you can actually have a handle to hold on to.
I got it.
Yeah, straighten the leg, you can't hold it up with the hand. Bring it back. Take the left leg out to the left, low belly pulling across, hand holding leg. So you're gonna use that shoulder blade slide and give it some room. But if you let go of the leg, leg does drop. Your weight is in your arm, not your leg. Back to switch. Low belly pulling across. Right leg goes right. And bring it back. Yeah, that's a simple little stuff. A little bit of coordination in your core to find it, but otherwise it's not too hard to do. Push the bolster down to your calves. And let your feet just hang. Okay. Let's inhale, bring the arms overhead. Spread the fingers, actually bring your arms up. Before you bring your arms back, I want you to feel your shoulder blades in the mat. Let your shoulders drop down and actually notice where your shoulder blades are on the mat. And then low belly sucks a little bit. As you drop back, when you inhale, keep the shoulders in the mat, don't reach them up. And feel how your ribs get lifted up a little bit over your shoulder blades, low belly drawing. Inhale. Hold the air in. Reach through heels, spread the toes. And then as you exhale, close the fists, point the toes, and then roll all the way in, inner spiraling legs, and the toes come in. Ankles work. Inhale, open it back up, turn the feet out, reach through heels, spread toes, open hands. Exhale, close hands, roll it all the way in, toes in, touch. Inhale, opening it up. Exhale, roll it all the way in. Good, drop it down. Last two. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, roll it in. Bring the arms up. And then open everything up. Reach again. And then slide your arms out to the sides, palms facing up. And your corpse pose. Inhale, longer top here. Hold the air in. And then exhale. We're softly retracting back in toward each other. At the end of your breath, just very softly roll shoulder heads forward. Go backwards, heavier in the back. And then let that go. And then on your next inhale, focus on where the weight just was in your upper back. Exhaling again. Feel weight come into that spot. Okay, I'm going to let you have your corpse in peace. Let's just do one more breath and release facial muscles. And then your mind just breathe here. Inhale long but soft. As you exhale, let your eyes roll back into the back of the head, in the middle of the forehead or the third eye. Try to feel a spreading in the muscles in the head, a spreading and widening across the brow, bridge of the nose.